Hi, Corey here from Camp Arowana again, and today I'm going to go hiking with a friend. And we're just going to hike around camp and talk as we go, and you get to enjoy some of our conversation. That friend is somebody that's been involved with Arowana for quite a few years. He has been one of our camp pastors, he's been a counselor, for a cabin counselor. He's definitely somebody that everybody knows and everybody loves, and he's sort of the hype man. He gets people, he's so passionate about everything that he's passionate about, and his energy level far surpasses any human being that I have ever met. He even has a character named after him in the movie Life. Check it out. My friend today that I'm walking with is named Calvin. So Calvin, how have you been keeping your sanity and doing some self-care during this quarantine time? How have you been taking care of Calvin?
I would like to answer that, but there really hasn't been any caretaking. It's more of a neglect. Kind of just been neglecting my existence, letting my consciousness fade away into the ever-looming platforms of social media.
That sounds healthy.
It is. It's the best. And on a real note, it's crazy. I've connected with so many old friends that I never used to talk with as much. And then even somebody like Jediah, I've been running this video game with him a lot, and we get to
Hi Jediah.
discuss via that way. Yeah, and it's weird, but it's that alone but together. That couldn't be truer. It really does feel like that's our reality, and I do feel connected with people like crazy on social media. So that's one of the few pros about the social media world. So
I think that's a good result for a lot of people right now, is just reconnecting with people and spending actual quality time together. Yeah. Even if it is over the internet or phone or whatever, it still is actually connecting and not being hurried and whatever. I hear that from a lot of people these days.
Yeah, dude. Jean-Marc Comer, I had to shout him out in this video because he's my absolute favorite pseudo-famous pastor of all time, because he just wrote a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it kind of discusses how we just need to slow way down, and the idea of progress is actually a lie when we man, he's so much more articulate than me. I just feel like I'm butchering any message in his book. He's I do not advocate that.
So Calvin, you've been coming to Camp Arowana for how many years now?
Sorry, this is a drink of coffee. I think it's freshman year of my high school career, and so been graduated for 5 years now. It's so weird. I'm an old man, Corey. Oh no, there's something caught on my foot. Oh, I thought it was a snake.
Thought it was a snake. You freaked me out.
It's still on my foot. Sorry. Anyway, gosh, I'm not good at hikes. I'm a suburban child. Wow, since freshman year in high school, so when I first started coming, so that's 9 years. I'm an old man. And then I first started coming because Anthony Preston, my longtime good friend from FEC PDX, invited us, a group of us, and we kept coming ever since.
So Anthony Preston, I remember you telling the story that you guys hated each other when you first knew each other. You guys couldn't stand each other, and now you're pretty close, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you suppose? So that's what was the first impression that caused you guys to you both felt that way, and neither of you knew it till years later, right?
Yeah, so it was so funny. The first thought that came into both of our minds, the very instant moment that we met each other, and then we later confessed it to each other, is that we were both having a thought, was that I could totally beat this guy up.
Who do you think would really win?
I don't want to put my boy down on camera.
Oh.
So, obviously.
I think we all know.
Yes. Skinny vegan versus Portland police officer. Who's winning?
So what was the... So you both just thought you could beat each other up, and that was...
Yeah, and in a weird way, we had a very similar, like-minded personality, and so that kind of fueled the fire for us to spark such a great relationship later on. Had a lot in common. Very competitive.
So do you think first impressions, does that tell you that first impressions really are that big of importance, or do you think that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's just another one of those pop cultural sayings that just totally misleads people. It's like something you'd see on a Twitter meme, and just it's so superficial and vain. Like, obviously, there's so much reconciliation and reparation that happens in relationship among human beings, because relationships take time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just get to know somebody from the very first meeting, and you never know what that person's going through.
So what was your first impression of me?
Do you want honesty, or do you want me to sugarcoat?
I don't know.
Okay.
Trying to stir the pot here for the video.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. Was it when the year?
I don't remember first. I don't remember first
I think
seeing or knowing you.
It was the Waldo, or no, it was the Real D 3D year.
Really?
That was the first year, I think, or maybe it was the Waldo. I can't remember. But
there were several Waldo years, so they all kind of blur. Every year blurs together for me.
Well, when I first saw you, I thought you were like you were doing a lot of leading, a lot of computer stuff. You had glasses, so I'm like, this guy's a total nerd. But he's a great speaker, and you were giving the talks and stuff. And I had a very superficial, shallow, vain interpretation of the world at that time. So, of course, I was going to judge people based on appearance and their activities.
What's your favorite movie and why?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's such a hard one. I don't know if I could choose an all-time favorite, but right now, one that I recently saw, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Maybe, it's so funny, these simple questions are like the hardest questions to answer.
Okay, so a couple summers ago, Shannon and Sean and maybe Sherry and I, Garrett, I don't remember who all, we watched the movie Life, and it was kind of scary.
Oh, that's right.
And one of the characters on there is named Calvin, and we were all like, "Oh my gosh, this is Calvin!"
Oh,
so
snap.
You really need to watch it, because
watch
it for Calvin in the movie Life.
Does he look like me?
I don't know. But I'm trying to remember though. Do you like scary movies?
I see when I get to like watch it next to a girl, and I get to like be like, "Hey, I'll protect you. I got you." That kind of like fuels my masculine ego, and it makes me like confident and like blind to the fears in the moment. But if I'm just watching it with friends, like homies, or just by myself, I am devastated. I am terrified. So no, I actually hate them. But then if it gives me an opportunity to be macho, that kind of trumps my fear. I don't know if that's a good...
Well, it scared me. I don't know if it scares everybody. It's an intense movie. It's got some like, I don't know. It's an alien kind of movie.
It's got some...
Yeah, and so I want you to watch it, because as soon as you see who Calvin is, you're going to be like, Corey. If you could travel anywhere in the world without thinking of money as any kind of part of it,
Ooh, yeah.
Where would you go and spend 2 weeks?
Oh, wow. I think Norway.
Why?
And because there's a lot of really good views of the Northern Lights. And let me ask you a question. Am I allowed to reverse the interview?
Sure.
All right. What is your favorite Bible story to teach, and why? Or just favorite period?
Well, I'm always kind of a big fan of the Apostle Paul.
Okay.
I am a big fan, this will shock you, of his good friends and his relationship with the married couple Priscilla and Aquila.
Oh, really?
They're a couple of my favorite characters. They don't really necessarily have a story in the Bible, but they're featured and mentioned quite a bit in Paul's letters.
Yeah.
Enough that I like them enough that I named my cats after them. So
that's pretty cool.
When I first was in Bible college, one of my first projects was we had to have a partner, and the whole class split up the section of the Old Testament, which was like half of it that we were doing.
Right.
And we all had to do a project on that book. And my friend Rainey and I were assigned Nehemiah. And I like knew nothing about Nehemiah at that point.
Yeah.
But did spend the term like really investing in Nehemiah. And ever since then, off and on, I wouldn't say in the almost 18 years since then. It's over 18 years now that I've been like totally obsessed with him all the time. but off and on Nehemiah has
you did the study for the awesome intern last summer.
Yeah, that's what we focused on for the interns last summer, was the book of Nehemiah and the leadership traits that we learned from Nehemiah. He has a lot of leadership principles in that book. So,
yeah, seriously. So, Habakkuk is a really cool one that I checked out recently, and I was like, wow. Why have I never read Habakkuk before? I'm in Bible college. It's terrible.
What do you hope to be doing when you're 80 years old?
Oh man, not being in a retirement home. That'd be cool. To not be there. Preaching. That'd be cool if I could preach some 80. John Piper, pretty passionate fellow. He's getting up there in years, and so is this guy MacArthur. And it's just so cool to see them keep going. And I think that John Piper had a message one time, this pastor, John Piper, and he was just like, retirement, that's actually an American kind of creation, and just like spend the rest of your last 30 years of your life just doing nothing but in just self-indulgence, and it's kind of, it's so funny because it's a double-edged sword, because you think that retirement is going to benefit you, but then when you're doing nothing, you actually get isolated and depressed, and you don't feel like you're contributing to the world anymore. And so I would just like to keep on doing what I'm doing, and maybe just be preaching still from the pulpit at that time. Wasn't a very funny answer.
You still have your pup, right? Your dog?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your dog.
Oh man, he's so fun. He's small, timid, this little, he's got these cool golden sleeved legs, but he's black all the rest of his body. And
what kind of dog?
He's a Jack Russell / Min Pin, and we speculate he's a Min Pin. He could be even a German Shepherd, because that color tone, that two-tone color on his legs, it makes him look like a German Shepherd so much. But or a Min Pin or a Doberman. But we're not sure what his dad was. But his mom, we got him from the Humane Society. He's neutered, so we can't have puppies. But that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Well, you would need another one for that anyway.
Yeah, I know. We were thinking about.
I don't know if you know about how that works, but
what? What is that?
You were thinking about what?
Birds and the bees. Shall we discuss that here? But no, I was just thinking about, man, I would really love to just create some puppies for us, but it's not a reality. It's not a reality, because he's just the cutest dog in the world, and but he hates to eat the most random things. He won't eat meat at all, but he'll eat cheese. He'll eat fruits and vegetables, but certain ones he just won't even touch. He doesn't like strawberries. He won't eat rice or mashed potatoes or anything like that. But if you put peanut butter on anything, he'll eat it though. That's the recipe.
Yep. That works for me too.
Really? For Priscilla and Aquila?
No, for me.
Oh, for you. Oh, I was like, what?
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our walk today. Thank you, Calvin, for joining me and helping to everyone to get to know you a little bit better and sharing some of your life with us. And thank you all for viewing. And tune in to our YouTube and our Facebook page ongoing for more fun and encouraging and promising things. Thank you.
We love
Bye.
you. Go vegan.